Hello, my name is Michael here, and I just finished this portrait, a commission piece for someone, and I wanted to tell you how to start painting portraits. Are you ready to start painting portraits? Because I don't have like a professional, went to school method of doing it. I just have done this. I wrote down some steps, 5 steps, on how to approach painting a portrait. Are you ready? You can write it down. Maybe I'll put it in the description right there so you can reference it. Check it out. So, 1, prep your canvas. Gesso it. Get it. Some of them come pre-gessoed, but you want to gesso it some more. It just helps preserve the canvas longer because over time, that stuff deteriorates from like the stuff in the air and the sun and this and that. Just things will deteriorate the painting. You want it to last a long time. Prep the canvas. This is step 1. Get your paint together. Prep the canvas. Get the size you want. Make sure you got all that. And get your reference photo. So find the photo you're going to paint from, right? Step 2. Get that photo onto the canvas. Get your image onto the canvas. So there's a couple ways you could do that. You could project it. Use a projector and then just trace that shit. You can trace it like with a carbon paper where you just straight up transfer it, and just to get the outline and the rough, like proportions. That's what it's all about. This stage is all about getting those proportions onto the canvas. So the way that I like to do it, and this is a kind of formula I came up with from using all those other ways. I projected it, I traced it, I used these apps. You can download an app that will do the same thing, like art projection, but it creates a onion skin from the photo on your camera roll, and then you can just look straight through your screen and then like trace the image. But this is the way that I learned to do it. From doing all those things, I came up with this. So the first thing you want to do is get the outline. So figure out what part of the reference photo you're going to use, and then just get this outline of their head, get that part down. And then once you got the outline, you can do this thing where you line up like the edge of the ear with the top of the eyebrow. You kind of grid it off. You don't have to grid the whole thing, but there's certain things that will line up with other things, like the corner of the mouth will line up with the center of the eye. Usually you can stick an eye in between two eyes. Like there's just rules of proportions. You can find them in books. I've seen them pointed out in books before on how to paint faces or draw faces. But you can do it yourself. Just get the outline, and then you can do like the shoulder lines up with the chin, that whole thing. Just get it all sketched out. Sketch it really lightly. And that's the other thing. Use like a little piece of graphite like that, something a little square that you get at the art store, and sketch it right out on the canvas. And then you're going to do this. You're going to do the next step, which is the underpainting. So what I do is I start off with just a solid color. I'll usually use blue or burnt umber or red or pink. And I just cover the whole thing with a thin layer of solid color. And then try not to wash away your drawing underneath. So you might have to experiment with what kind of graphite you use. I like to use this red one because it disappears easily. It's not black, so it's like a brownish red graphite, and I make a hard enough mark that it stays and it doesn't wash away. That took me forever to figure out. I didn't know what to use to keep it there. So then you sketch it all out. You get your sketch, you get your back painting, your underpainting, and you do it in 2 tones so that whatever the background color you picked, blue, red, burnt umber, you use that color and white. So white is like not really a color. Is white a color? I think it's a shade. Not sure. Didn't go to art school. Anyways, you take white and that dark color, and you just keep going back and forth. So you get all the values. Look at the reference photo and go back and forth like this. You just get the eyes. You do all the work. You get all the shading, right? You do the values of everything. Keep adding white, and then do washes of color, and then keep adding white. So like I'll build it up, like I'm building it up over, and I use thin layers of paint. That's the key. You don't want to glob it on too much. Just use enough paint to make the mark, and then don't leave too many raised lines, right? So you get the image out there in 2 colors, and well, not colors, but the one color that you use for the background and white. Then you like do it. Do the whole thing. Like, get all the details. And then in the next step, you add color. And so the way that I do that is like I'll add washes of color. So I'll put either pink on first and then yellow, and so that kind of starts to get into fleshy tones, flesh colors. And I'll make up the colors myself. Like, I won't. You can buy flesh colored paint like this. This is nice to have. Just a little bit of this will go a long ways. Like, say you need just some highlights of flesh color, you can put this in there. Some people would like to use the flesh color, the whole thing, and that's fine. Whatever you can do. You know, mix a little burnt umber with yellow and white and get some good flesh, a little pink in there, some brown. It's not that hard to get a color, but if you're going to use it for the whole face, you're going to have to make that much in the palette and use it all. You know, just do a wash over the whole thing. But you have that underpainting, experiment with that underpainting using those tones with whatever you paint you put on top of it, you know, combined. That's why a lot of people use the burnt umber. I like to use blue. For me, there's something about the blue that really does it for me. But maybe just experiment with that part. And then the last final one is just adding highlights. You know, the dot to the eye, the white on the cheek, like all the little highlights of the hair and everything. Get that last layer with a small brush in there. Figure out what you're going to put in the background. So like what you put in the background, sometimes I want it to look exactly like the photo. But sometimes you're like, maybe you could make it your style so it's recognizable to whatever you might have done in another painting. Make it unique to your thing. You can like hide your style in a portrait. So there you go. That's my style in a portrait. Finalize it by varnishing it. You can buy varnish. This stuff is what I like to use, Liquitex acrylic matte medium right here. And I put a thin layer of that down, wipe it all in. I do my brush strokes all the same direction. I want them all to be in this. I don't want to go like just all the same direction. And then I'll put a second coat on because I like it to be super archived. It'll last longer. I notice when you don't varnish stuff and you let it sit around for a long time, it starts to deteriorate just from the air, just from the oxygen. Like it, for some reason, like it thins out. That's why you want to gesso it real good, and then you want to paint on top of that and then varnish it, you know. So that's it. 5 steps. You could do it. Just have focus without doubt. It's just a plan. It's just a process. You just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you just do it. You know, it's okay if it doesn't turn out good the first time. I used projectors. I used all those other methods before. They were like crutches. You know, you get your strength up. Now you can just attack it without needing one of those crutches. So maybe the first few times, try to maybe just trace it. It's not like you're gonna make a literal copy over. It's not copy paste. You know, you still got to do all the work. You still got to fill it in. You got to do all the the work and the details. But if you can just get that basic idea over the silhouette, the lines of the face, you know, and to make it look a little bit more realistic, don't use lines on the borders of things. Just put color up to color. You know, here's the color and here's the other color. The other thing with doing the background first is that you don't have to worry about the color overlapping onto the face or anything. It's just already behind there. So a little planning and you could get a portrait down. I wish somebody would have told me this. I had to watch a lot of artists before I was like, oh, it's just a process. It's just step by step. Just got to do the thing. And don't forget to sign it. Sign it. Sign it on the back. Sign it on the front. Whatever. Date it. When you made it. That helps. When you started it, you know. A lot of times I have paintings that have been open for years and I forget I should have wrote down when I started it. I wish I would have done that. So if you have any questions, leave them down there in the comments below. I hope that helped a little bit getting you started on painting portraits. It's not as hard as you think. It took me a while to get there. It was a lot of practice. I painted a couple hundred faces before I was like happy with my process, happy with how they turned out, like, and I could get there quicker. My whole goal in it was just to get there as fast as possible. Make it look like the person in the least amount of time. It's okay if it was loose or rough, as long as it looked like the person in the least amount of time. That was my goal. And I've gotten it down to like a good half hour, 15 minutes. I'd love to work more on like character drawings though. I'd like to do that. You know, like those dudes at the fair and make their noses all big and stuff. I want to do that. That'd be fun. But if you're just trying to paint a portrait right here, you can paint a lot of people. It's good work. Try it out. Try painting yourself. Try this. Look in a mirror and sketch your own face. All right, let me know what you do. I want to see it. I want to see what you guys make. Until next time, cheers.